All right, just making sure the flash is on in this thing. This is going to be video one of this Lexus. This is 2003 ES 300. And it is the V6. And this one had blown head gaskets. But from what I'm told, they blew the head gaskets hard, like drove it hot, knew it was hot, and just kept driving it. And when they drive them hot and don't shut them off right away, a lot of times you're better off replacing it than you are rebuilding it. You warp the heads, you can even damage the deck, you can fry out all the internals. I mean, it's just, you don't know what you're getting into until you're into it, and at that point it costs a lot more than it would to just replace it. So we're gonna do exactly that. We're gonna replace this V6. So we got another motor sitting over here. We need a rear main seal. Everything I work on, I replace the rear main seal. Now, technically, this rear main seal is not leaking, but to replace it later down the road, you would have to remove the transmission or the engine to access a $20 seal. So even if yours costs a little more and you're like, oh, mine's a $50 seal, then it's over a $50 seal, you're going to be looking at more than $1,000 in labor, depending where you go. The rear main seal sits behind the flex plate, flywheel, for those of you, whatever you want to call it. Pop these bolts off, pop this flex plate off, and behind it is the rear main seal. I don't use the flex plate that came with this motor. I use the one that's on the car now, the one that's on the motor that's going to come out. Everything that was cut has to come off, all the electrical, everything else. And then other than that, we'll be dropping the motor in. It's up to the customer. I always ask them if they want to go ahead and do the timing while the engine is out. Once the engine is in, there's not a lot of room to access the timing. So, you know, this is a low mileage engine. I think it'll be fine, but, you know, that's something you always want to discuss with the client before you move forward. I got it up in the air, got all 4 wheels off. I was inspecting the brakes. It needs brakes all the way around in the front and in the back. Front and back will need new brakes. This thing has brand new shocks. At some point, somebody replaced these shocks. These are not OEM shocks, so should ride pretty nice with new shocks all the way around it. We're going to pull the bumper off. We're replacing the headlights. We'll pull this plastic piece out. We'll remove a lot of the duct work, obviously, all the hoses, battery. Got to remove all of this duct work, this strut bar, and pull the motor out. I am going to remove the intake just because it makes it easier to install without the intake and remove without the intake. You see how the intake kind of sits real close back up against the firewall there. This is the firewall, the back of the car. So it's real close. So I'll be removing the strut bar and removing the intake and then removing the engine. Gives you a lot more room. Obviously, like I said, all the plumbing and hoses and everything else. The radiator and fan, I like to remove, obviously, just so it doesn't get damaged and you get more room. Yeah, what else? Give you a little peek in the interior. It's a Lexus, it's nice, you know. These things, I got stuff on the trunk, so I just give you a little peek. The trunk is clean. Nice, big, spacious trunk. Like I said, it's a ES 300. So he'll probably want to be getting a set of rims for it. So we'll look into getting a set of rims. But follow along the journey. This one's going to happen fast. I removed the hood just because it makes life easier. There's nothing wrong with the hood. And other than it needs to be cleaned, it's dirty, right? Put it upside down on this towel on the roof. If I need to put parts, I can put them in there, you know? So it just works for me. Got the engine stand, got the engine hoist ready to go. I got the fluids under here being drained. There's your transmission fluid being drained in one and the oil in the other. Next, I'm gonna drain the coolant, and then I'll start removing the front bumper and all the plastic in the front, all the duct work. And that'll pretty much be tonight. And then tomorrow I'll remove the CV axles, the exhaust, all that. On this one, there's different ways you can do it. Some guys will drop the whole subframe from the bottom. If I was working in a shop with a lift, that's how I would do it. I would remove all the ductwork and drop the engine and transmission on the subframe out from the bottom. I'm not working with a lift. Usually you put a metal roll cart table underneath it. Some guys use jack stands. Then you lift the car up on the lift, and there's your engine and your transmission. I am not doing it that way because I don't have a lift. So I'm going to remove the engine and the transmission together with the cherry picker, the engine hoist. I'm going to hoist it up, out, and over. Out here on the floor, I'm going to detach the transmission from this engine, attach it to that engine, and then hoist both the engine and transmission attached together back down in place. I'm going to ask the owner to invest in a rear main seal, a set of spark plugs. What else? Rear main seal, set of spark plugs, and motor mounts. Obviously, he's going to need a battery. I think that battery's under warranty, so I might not need him to get a battery, but definitely the motor mounts and the rear main seal. Anyways, I got some other work to do tonight. I got to finish up. I'm doing oil pressure switch still on this 1991 GMC Jimmy that my neighbor keeps bringing me to work on. It's like he wants to get rid of it, but not yet. He's had it since new. And I'm adjusting the timing. Doing it old school by just ear because there's no timing marks on this front timing cover. So we had the timing light on it, but it's kind of hard to time it when there's no timing mark to go off of on the cover itself. So he would need to get a new timing cover with actual timing marks, and then we could use the timing light and really know what we're doing. But I'm just moving the distributor back and forth and trying to find the sweet spot, put that oil pressure switch in it, and be done with this. And then it's back to the Lexus. Like I said, remove all the ductwork from it, get the coolant drain, pull the front bumper, and then I'm going to call it a night. Am I blinding you? I forget that thing's on. Then I'm going to call it a night. It's getting cold. It's late, right? So we'll call it a night. Tomorrow we'll make another video of the two engines out being separated, stuff like that. And then possibly a third video, the new engine going back in. So I'll make you a video of the two engines out and one being separated from the transmission, the one that's in it now, and then the transmission being attached to the new engine going in. And then last but not least, we'll have a video of the engine once it's installed and the car is running. And probably a fourth video once it's all detailed with new headlights, new rims, all that fancy stuff. And then that'll be it. Probably like a four video series on this Lexus ES 300. Any other request, anything specific you want to know, drop me a comment. Thanks for watching. Don't want it to get more late than it is, so I'm going to cut this video short. Got a lot of productivity I got to try to get done tonight, but God bless y'all. Catch y'all on the next video. Peace.